7-8 Fight News here. I got a good brother on the line today, Brother Dante 562. What's up, brother?
What's going on, man? What's going on?
Nothing much, man. We're gonna build on Adrien Broner. He got a fight coming up against DeMarco, WBC lightweight champion. What's your views on that fight?
I gotta tell you, I'm 78. Okay, the thing with Adrien Broner is, out of all the fights that's coming up, the end of the year, this is the fight that I've been looking forward to the most, because this is the very first time, and I know both me and you, we both touched on it, but this is the first time that Adrien Broner is really taking a serious ass test.
Right.
And the truth is, we really don't know for sure. He's been looking good against, C-level fighters, but we don't know for sure if he's a real deal. And we're going to find out when he fight against DeMarco.
Right.
The thing with DeMarco, the whole thing with DeMarco is, this is all new for Adrien Broner, because, DeMarco, he may be bigger than Broner. They may be around the same size, but we know he's at least bigger, or they the same. DeMarco is the same size. We know he's battle tested. We know he has a good ass chin. He fought against, your boy Valero, and Valero couldn't drop him. Even though he stopped him with a TKO. So, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see if Broner can take somebody, who has decent power, and they just going to keep coming forward. Man, I'm really interested in that fight. Out of all the fights that's coming up, towards the end of this year.
No doubt. Broner, I think it's gonna say a lot. We're gonna learn a lot about Adrien Broner in this fight. A lot of people trying to downplay DeMarco, acting like DeMarco's some bum. Those are just people who don't really know nothing about DeMarco. They don't really know nothing about the lightweight division, so they just want to discredit anybody Broner fight. But DeMarco is a legitimate champion, and like you say, he got a hell of a chin. So if Adrien Broner go in there and walk through this kid, then sky's the limit for Adrien Broner.
Exactly. Exactly. And not only are people discrediting DeMarco because they uneducated. I mean, a lot of them are uneducated, but a lot of them, they hate on Broner as well too.
Yeah, oh yeah.
The whole thing is, it's all, when a lot of haters, when they see the confidence that Broner has, I think that even they fall for that. They look at him as being so confident that they believe that confidence. And so if he calls out somebody, if he calls out Marquez, if he calls out Rios, if he calls out DeMarco, they truly believe that if this guy, Broner, is calling them out, then he must be confident that he'll beat them easy. So psychologically, they look at it like, oh, he's only calling him out because, he can beat him. Which is a silly ass logic to try to take away, credit from somebody. Like this one dude, I get this one guy who always send me messages. He's sitting over here, he's telling me that all them dudes that Broner was calling out as bums. He's either saying they bums, or then they say some real stupid stuff like he only calling them out because he knows that they won't fight him. Silly shit like that is really just, it's really just ignorance, because they waiting for this dude to fail. So they basically already getting their excuses out before he goes and beats this dude, if he can even beat him.
Right.
So that's how I see it. But,
I think DeMarco can punch. He's a hard hitter. So, and we don't know if Broner has a chin yet. It's a lot of unanswered questions about Broner right now, and it'd be interesting to see. And DeMarco's a southpaw too, so it's gonna be interesting to see how Broner fights him, what strategy he uses, and how easy he makes this fight look. If he walks through DeMarco, then that's going to tell me a lot about Broner. And I think at that moment, if he walks through DeMarco, that's when you're going to start seeing a lot of people start ducking Adrien Broner.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Like I said, and that's why I said before that this is the biggest fight, as far as I'm concerned, of interest when it comes to all the fights this year, is this fight, because just like you just said, if he walks through them, then we really know exactly where Adrien Broner is. like I said, it's a lot of pressure on Adrien Broner, especially when people are looking at him as like the next Floyd Mayweather and all that kind of stuff like that.
Right.
Because we've seen so many fighters, that was looked at as the next Oscar De La Hoya, the next Sugar Ray Leonard, the next this, the next that. As soon as they stepped up to like a to a better competition level, all of a sudden they fell apart. Like you said, we don't really know how good Adrien Broner could really take a punch. Although I felt that it was, even though he had a size advantage over Escobedo, I still thought that was impressive because of the pedigree of
right.
the sensei. So like I said before, though, dog, you have a lot of fighters who have had expectations. Matter of fact, the Sensei Escobedo, everybody was saying he was going to be the next Oscar De La Hoya. And as soon as he stepped up in competition, he fell apart. Matter of fact, as far as I'm concerned, I know this is going to hurt some Oscar De La Hoya fans, feelings, but even Oscar De La Hoya was always compared to Sugar Ray Leonard.
Right.
But the truth is, every single time Oscar De La Hoya, stepped up in competition, and when the lights were shining the brightest, that's when he dropped the ball.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I think Oscar De La Hoya is, to me, one of the worst cases of media hype fighters. De La Hoya, he was a good. I give De La Hoya credit because he fought every fucking body. He might not have beat him, but that motherfucker was always willing to go out there and fight everybody because he tried to prove something to himself that he was the best. Now, I take my hat off to him for that. But he didn't. Every time he stepped up to, Shane Mosley, he lose to Mosley, he lose to Floyd, he lose to Pacquiao, he lose to Bernard Hopkins. But I think that back to Broner, if he gets past DeMarco, okay, and he's impressive in a victory over DeMarco. Vasquez, if Broner is able to get past DeMarco, he might as well go ahead and take Vasquez title too.
I think he would beat Vasquez easy. I thought Vasquez was slow. He was. Of course, like I said, my whole thing is defense. I'm big on defense. So my whole, the thing is, he's really slow. He really has no type of natural, athleticism. I think that would be actually easier fight for Broner than DeMarco. I truly believe that. I think DeMarco might just be a little bit he might be a little bit faster, and just overall, a better boxer.
Yeah.
He's not a real natural athletic boxer, but if you compare him to Vasquez, in my opinion, I think DeMarco is a lot better.
Yeah.
But that would be cool if he cleaned that division up. But if he does that, they're gonna try their best. Of course, the haters, but that's a different story. But they're gonna try their best to take away credit and say, "Oh, why you fighting Vasquez? Why you ain't jumping up to 147, 140, all of this stuff like that?" But but if he does that, though, you gotta respect him. He could be completely cleaned out the division, and then he could move on to 140, which is going to be an uphill, battle, because that division is probably the most stacked division in the whole, boxing, world right now.
Yeah, agreed, man. I think, Vasquez is pretty much a boxer. He ain't got no power or nothing. He just, he kind of put me in the mind of Paulie Malignaggi. He just holding his title till somebody take it. But so Broner could walk through Vasquez if he gets past DeMarco. And the fight I really want to see is Broner versus Ricky Burns. Now, Burns ducked Adrien Broner. Somebody told me he didn't duck Broner. He couldn't make the weight no more. And he left all this bullshit. It's just so convenient he couldn't make the weight no more once Broner started kicking ass. But I want to see Broner versus Ricky Burns. I think that if Broner, his 3 fights at lightweight need to be DeMarco, Vasquez, and Ricky Burns. He beat them guys and move up to 140. He move up to 140. Yeah. At 140, I know we're getting ahead of ourselves. I know this is all just, us just talking shit. But if he gets up to 140, okay, do you see anybody at 140 stopping Adrien Broner or giving him any trouble?
Man, I'm gonna tell you, man. I think the toughest person to deal with, actually, two people. Now that I think about it, Lucas Matisse and Kareem Mayfield. I think, and man, like I said, this 140 division is so stacked that it's ridiculous. I mean, if Adrien Broner was able to like we said, you know, we jumping ahead, but if he is to just run straight through the lightweight division, and he goes up there to 140, and as far as I'm concerned, he don't, even if he just beats one of those dudes, but, you know, Lucas Matisse right now is gaining more, you know, momentum as far as popularity,
right.
You know, because he's just running over everybody. But I think that Lucas Matisse will be the most dangerous opponent for Adrien Broner. Not necessarily saying that, you know, Matisse will beat him,
right.
But I mean, but he's the most dangerous. And then, like I said, Kareem Mayfield with that right hand, you know, will be extremely dangerous for Adrien Broner. So, yeah, man. I mean, we gonna see. I mean, real quick about Matisse, you know, as dangerous as Matisse is, the only people who really did give him problems were, you know, rhythm, speed boxer type fighters, you know.
Right.
So, you know, slicksters, you know, like I said, even though a lot of people think that Zab Judah and Devin Alexander, you know, basically robbed Matisse, you still have to look at it the other way, which was Matisse allowed the fight to be close enough to where it could have went either way.
Yeah.
It's, you know, so if the whole thing is, basically, I think Matisse and Kareem Mayfield will be the most dangerous opponent, you know, for somebody like Adrien Broner. And we got, like I said, we also have to wonder if he could bring that power up, you know, naturally,
right,
to all these different divisions. So we don't see, man.
I think he'll carry his power well, because I think he's a big dude. I think he'll carry his power well, at least up to 140. I don't know if he goes any further than that, but I agree with what you said about Matisse. I think if Matisse keeps winning and running through people, Matisse needs to get his hands on them titles, though, because Matisse is one of those fighters that everybody is going to be justified in ducking, because if he don't hold no title, I wouldn't fight that motherfucker either. I'm like, man, ain't no reason for me to fight this motherfucker beast. For what? He ain't got no belt. I ain't fighting him. So Matisse needs to get his hands on one of them titles so that somebody will have to come see him. But Kareem Mayfield, you know, I don't believe in Mayfield yet, man. I gotta admit, man, it's something about him, man. He seemed like, I don't know, I watched his last fight, man, and it just seemed sloppy to me, man. It seemed like he was kind of winded. I don't know if it was just the moment of the big show that had him winded, but he seemed a little awkward to me, man. I gotta see more from him. I gotta admit, I only seen a couple of his fights, so I gotta see more from him before I can make a better judgment on Mayfield.
Yeah, you know, the thing with Kareem Mayfield, and I know you already know, I personally, I did the video where I had my future top 10 pound for pound, you know, fighters who I believe will reach the top 10.
Right.
And, you know, of course, I had Kareem Mayfield on that, you know, on the bottom list of my top 10. You know, the thing with Kareem Mayfield is sometimes he'll get in ugly fights. Like this fight was ugly. My thing is fouls definitely make fights. And the thing is, he was fighting against Herrera. See, Herrera in the whole fight, and a lot of people probably don't notice this, but he was trying his best to do whatever he could to avoid Kareem Mayfield's right hand, which is a hammer. So what I was looking at basically is Herrera. He was coming in, you know, real close to try to smother, Kareem Mayfield's right hand, and it kind of made it look ugly because, you know, by the time Kareem Mayfield throws the right hand, Herrera, he brings his head in, so the punch goes behind his head, and it looks like rabbit punches, you know, and it looks wild and stuff like that.
Right.
But, I think I was impressed with Kareem Mayfield because I feel that he adjusted in that fight, you know, because Herrera is no joke. You know, Mauricio Herrera is no joke. He didn't really fight a slugfest like he did against Mike Alvarado. He knew that he had to be more intelligent. I remember in that fight, the commentator was saying that Herrera, he basically looks at fighters like Pernell Whitaker not because he wants to fight like them, but he wants to learn how to fight in the inside without getting hit.
Right.
So I think it's styles that make fights, but I think it's somewhat of a how do I put it? It's somewhat of not a distraction, but basically styles make fights. So Kareem, sometimes he could be an ugly ass fighter, kind of like Bernard Hopkins. He's one of those type of fighters who he's gonna look ugly sometimes, but he finds a way to get the job done. I mean, like I said, his defense, as far as I'm concerned, is really good. He does look wild, but like I said, if you watch his last two fights, it's his opponents, which I forgot the Puerto Rican guy's name. But anyway, that guy, he was undefeated, real good fighter. But see, he was standing up more. He was trying to be more aggressive, leaving himself a little bit more open. And I think you kind of seen the best of Kareem Mayfield against an opponent like that, because he was really, really trying to go in. He was falling for the bait, falling right into Kareem Mayfield's right hand. But I think if you were to put Kareem Mayfield in the ring with somebody like a Brandon Rios, even a Mike Alvarado, I think it would bring the best. But me personally, I still think he got a bright future. I still think he has a real bright future.
I wouldn't close the lights out. I mean, I wouldn't close the curtains on him. I just want to see a little more from him before before I judge him. But speaking of Brandon Rios, how do you think a potential fight between Adrien Broner and Brandon Rios would fare?
Man, I think Adrien Broner. So like I said, once again, we got to see how he looks against DeMarco.
Right.
Because if he walks through DeMarco, I think for sure he destroys Brandon Rios.
Right.
But I mean, like I said, but even before that, I was saying in my videos, I thought that Adrien Broner, somebody like Brandon Rios, would be completely tailor made for Broner. But it's still going to be a test because of the fact that Brandon Rios can just keep walking through punches and punches. So we have to see how is Adrien Broner going to look by the 12th, the 11th, but the championship rounds when somebody like Brandon Rios is just constantly still walking through his punches, if he could do that. I mean, it's a lot of speculation when it comes to that. I mean, I see Broner. I know I'm going all over the place with this, but I see Broner beat Rios easy. But it would be a good test. It would be a good test to see exactly, how Brandon Rios takes Broner's power and how Rios would deal with Brandon Rios' attrition.
Right.
So,
yeah, I just hope. I said this a couple of times before about Adrien Broner. I just hope that Broner takes his time. He's a young man. He got all the time in the world. And I just hope he takes his time and doesn't feel the need to move up too quickly. I think he's one of them fighters who has a chance to build his legacy already in these weight classes, these lower weight classes. Just go ahead and beat all the guys you need to beat. Dominate these guys so when you go ahead later on and start making your money, ain't nothing nobody can say. You can make your money, do what you got to do, and eventually if he keeps winning, he's going to be a pay-per-view attraction. And, he's going to be a big pay-per-view draw. And he's going to be, I think, the face of fucking boxing as far as pay-per-view goes if he stays undefeated. Because he has the charisma, he had the power, he had the speed, he got the defense. He got everything you need if you're building a fighter.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, the whole thing is if he keeps winning, just like you said, he's already number 3 when it comes to one of the biggest draws on just regular HBO, boxing events. So he's already building the momentum to be a big star. So yeah, I mean, if he keeps winning, and especially if he keeps beating big names and knocking out cats that ain't never been knocked out before, no matter if it's hate or if it's support. His target is going to get bigger and bigger, and he really is going to become the next Mayweather. Maybe I shouldn't even say the next Mayweather. He's going to be the next superstar. You know,
Right.
so yeah, man. We like I said, we gonna figure out after DeMarco exactly where he is, and I think after DeMarco, he's probably only really a fight or two from possibly cracking the top 10 and building his legacy.
No doubt, no doubt.
You know?
All right, man. Well, with that said, man, you got any last words for the people?
No, that's really about it, man. I mean, like I said, you know, keep checking out 78 Fight News. Keep checking out Dante 562.
We're going to have some more stuff coming from y'all, man. Check out the brother Dante's page. I'm going to put a link to his page underneath the video. 78 Fight News, Dante 562. Holla.